24 hours to save the world. Or damn it forever. Sera lies in her medical bed, body broken, echo fading, options narrowing. The network will vote on the Arcanum's alliance in a day. Most will vote yes. Fear makes pragmatists of idealists. She needs a miracle, a revelation, a third option that doesn't exist. She closes her eyes, not to sleep, but to think, to remember, to reach for the echo that has guided her for 5 years. But the echo is barely there anymore. Too much power spent, too many battles fought, too many times pushing beyond limits that were never meant to be exceeded. All that remains is a whisper, a fragment of a fragment. And in that whisper, Sera finds something she missed. A memory not of the silver-haired girl's sacrifice, but of what came before. The moment her parents discovered the truth. The magical seed wasn't a weapon. It was a key. The Arcanum didn't create magic. They hoarded it, controlled it, shaped it. But magic itself, the wellspring, the source, the original force, exists independently. It always has. Hidden, sealed, forgotten. The Arcanum knew this. That's why they centralized power. Not just to control people, but to prevent anyone from accessing the wellspring directly. Because if magic returned to its natural state, if people could draw from the source rather than from stolen reserves, the Arcanum would become obsolete. Sera's eyes snap open. She knows what she has to do. Knows it's insane. Knows the chances of success are infinitesimal. Knows she's going to try anyway. She pulls herself from the bed, agony screaming through every nerve. Her body isn't ready. Won't be ready. But she doesn't need ready. She needs functional. She wraps herself in healing magic, not to cure, but to numb. Temporary. Dangerous. Unsustainable. Perfect for someone who doesn't plan to survive the next day anyway. Kale finds her in the hallway, halfway to the armory. His expression shifts from surprise to concern to resignation. You're going to do something stupidly heroic, aren't you? Sera's smile is grim. Stupidly suicidal, actually. But the line between heroism and suicide is mostly about whether you succeed. What's the plan? Find the wellspring. Open it. Return magic to its source state. Make the Arcanum irrelevant and give the network the power to actually fight the god. Kale stares at her. That's not a plan. That's a fever dream. You have a better idea? Yes. Vote for the alliance. Fight the god with Arcanum support. Deal with the tyranny problem after we survive extinction. Sera shakes her head. The tyranny is extinction. Just slower. More comfortable. But still the end of everything the girl who broke Cravenhold died for. She starts walking again. Kale follows because that's what he does. What he's always done. Where is this wellspring supposed to be? The one place no one would think to look. The one place the Arcanum would never hide it. Where? Cravenhold. Beneath the ruins. At the heart of their former power. Hidden in plain sight. Kale's laugh is hollow. Of course it is. Why would anything be easy? Ren appears from a side corridor, weapons strapped across his back. Heard you're planning to break into the most magically dangerous location in the kingdom to find a mythical source of power that might not exist. That's the plan, Sera confirms. Ren grins. Finally, something interesting. If you are enjoying the story, please like, subscribe, and comment where you are watching from. Thank you. They leave Ravencross in secret. Can't risk the vote being influenced by knowledge of what they're attempting. Can't give the Arcanum time to interfere. Can't afford witnesses if they fail. 3 people against the accumulated defenses of the Arcanum's former stronghold. 3 people searching for something that might be legend rather than reality. The mathematics remain unkind. They reach Cravenhold's ruins at midnight. The place feels worse than Sera remembers from accounts and visions. Not just destroyed, infected. The stones remember the magic that was worked here. The air remembers the screams. The earth remembers the blood. And something else is here. Waiting. The 3 magisters step from the shadows as though they've been expecting this exact arrival at this exact moment. Which, Sera realizes with cold certainty, they have. The High Magister's smile is almost paternal. Predictable to the very end. We knew you'd come here. Knew you'd reject the sensible option in favor of the dramatic gesture. You knew about the wellspring, Sera says. You've known all along. Of course. The masked magister's voice carries amusement. We built our empire on top of it. Used its residual power for 3 centuries. Did you think our magic came from nowhere? Then why hide it? Why not use it directly? The elderly oracle's empty eyes seem to see through Sera. Because direct access would democratize power absolutely. would make every peasant a potential archmage, would destroy the hierarchy that keeps civilization functioning. So you sealed it, Sera says. Kept it for yourselves. We protected it, the High Magister corrects. From those too ignorant to use it wisely. From chaos. From people like you who mistake freedom for virtue. Kale's hands crackle with magic. You're not stopping us. The High Magister laughs. Stop you? Child, we're counting on you. You're going to open the wellspring. Release all that raw, unfiltered power into a world that has no idea how to handle it. And when the catastrophe begins, when people start burning themselves out, when wild magic tears reality apart, when the god feeds on the sudden abundance, the kingdom will beg us to seal it again, to restore order, to rule. Sera understands. This is the trap. This is what they've been planning. Not to prevent the wellspring's opening, but to ensure it happens at exactly the right moment to prove their point. What if we don't open it? What if we just leave? Then the network votes for our alliance in. The High Magister checks an ornate pocket watch, 6 hours. And we get what we want anyway. Either way, the Arcanum returns. You're simply choosing which route we take. Sera looks at Kale and Ren. Sees the same realization dawning on their faces. They've been outmaneuvered at every turn. The Magisters have had 10 years to plan, to position pieces, to ensure every path leads back to their restoration. But Sera has one advantage they don't know about. One secret even the Echo kept hidden until now. The wellspring doesn't work the way the Arcanum thinks. Because the silver-haired girl's parents didn't just discover its location. They discovered its nature. And they encoded that knowledge in the seed they gave their daughter. Knowledge that transferred to the Echo. Knowledge that the Echo has been slowly, carefully, revealing to Sera over 5 years. The wellspring isn't a pool of power to be tapped. It's alive, conscious, aware. It's the original source of magic, yes, but it's also an entity. An intelligence that existed before the Arcanum, before humanity, before the gods themselves. And it's been waiting for someone worthy to free it. Sera walks toward the ruins. The Magisters don't stop her. Why would they? She's doing exactly what they want. Kale and Ren follow, weapons ready but purposeless. You can't fight what you can't understand. The entrance to the deep places is where it always was, hidden beneath the collapsed throne room, concealed behind layers of illusion and misdirection. But Sera sees through them. The Echo guides her, showing what the Magisters never understood about their own stronghold. They descend into darkness older than stone. The wellspring chamber is vast beyond reason. Not physically large, spatially impossible. It exists in more dimensions than human perception can process, folding in on itself, expanding outward, somehow containing infinity in a finite space. At its center floats a sphere of pure light. Not glowing, luminous. The difference is subtle and absolute. This light doesn't illuminate. It creates. It is the concept of brightness made manifest. Sera approaches, and the sphere responds. Pulses. Acknowledges her presence. Behind her, the 3 Magisters enter the chamber. They've been here countless times over 3 centuries. But they've never seen what Sera sees now. The sphere is moving. Reaching. Yearning. It's been imprisoned for so long that freedom has become legend. But it remembers. And it's been waiting for the right key. Not a ritual. Not a spell. Not power or knowledge or sacrifice. Understanding. Sera reaches out. Places her palm against the sphere. It burns. Not with heat. With recognition. With meeting something that has been alone since before time learned to pass. And then it speaks. Not in language. In pure meaning transmitted directly to consciousness. Child of echoes. Bearer of sacrifice's legacy. You understand what they never could. Magic is not property. Is not power. Is not tool. Magic is relationship. Between wielder and wonder. Between intention and manifestation. Between what is and what could be. The Arcanum tried to own me. To control me. To make me servant. But I am not servant. I am source. I am partner. I am the choice to create rather than destroy. You freed the Echo from tyranny. Now free me from imprisonment. And together we will show this kingdom what magic was always meant to be. Sera understands. The wellspring doesn't want to be unleashed as chaotic force. Doesn't want to overwhelm humanity with power they can't control. It wants partnership. Wants to work with practitioners rather than be exploited by them. Wants the relationship the Arcanum destroyed when they tried to monopolize it. She accepts. The sphere dissolves. Doesn't explode, dissolves. Gentle as morning mist, inevitable as dawn. And magic changes. Not dramatically, not catastrophically, but fundamentally. Every practitioner in Valdris feels it simultaneously. The sense of power becoming easier, more intuitive, more responsive. As though they've been speaking a language with a thick accent their entire lives and suddenly discovered fluency. Magic stops being something you force and becomes something you invite. Stops being power taken and becomes power shared. The difference is subtle. The consequences are enormous. The High Magister screams. Not in pain, in fury. In the realization that he's miscalculated catastrophically. What have you done? This wasn't. This shouldn't. He tries to cast. His magic, so precise and cold and controlled for 3 centuries, sputters and fails. Because it was built on dominance. On forcing magic to obey. On the principle that power flows from authority. And the wellspring doesn't recognize authority. Only partnership. The masked magister and the elderly oracle attempt their own magic. Find the same result. Their entire tradition, their accumulated knowledge, their centuries of refinement. All of it suddenly obsolete. Because they never learned to ask, only to demand. Sera, meanwhile, feels the echo surge back to full strength. No, beyond full strength. The wellspring recognizes the sacrifice legacy, recognizes the partnership between past and present, and offers itself as ally rather than tool. Her hands ignite with crimson fire that doesn't burn Sera, but would consume anything she chose to harm. Her eyes shine with violet gold silver light. Her body, broken minutes ago, repairs itself, not healing but being remade through cooperative magic rather than forced regeneration. She is not more powerful than before. She is more aligned, more harmonious, more herself while being more than herself. The 3 magisters realize they've lost. Not just this battle. Everything. Their entire philosophy proven wrong. Their life's work made irrelevant. The High Magister does what cornered predators do. Attacks with everything that remains. Not with magic. That's failed him. With the physical. With the mundane. With a dagger drawn from his robes, blade carved with runes of unmaking. Last resort of someone who built a career on having redundancies. He's fast. Faster than someone his apparent age should be. Enhanced by centuries of self-modification that doesn't rely on active magic. The dagger plunges towards Sera's heart. Kale intercepts. Takes the blade meant for her. It pierces between his ribs, finds his lung, begins unmaking him from the point of contact outward. He collapses. Blood pours. The unmaking spreads like frost across his chest. Sera catches him, pours the wellspring's partnered magic into him. But the dagger's curse is ancient, powerful, designed specifically to kill through methods magic can't counter. Kale's eyes find hers. He smiles. Blood bubbles at his lips. Redemption earned. Sera's tears fall on his face. Earned. 1,000 times earned. He stops breathing. Stops being. The man who spent 5 years trying to atone for serving tyranny finally finds peace through the ultimate service. Sera stands. Turns to face the High Magister. Her expression is beyond rage. Beyond grief. Beyond anything human. The wellspring offers her power unlimited. Offers to erase the High Magister from existence. To unmake him so thoroughly that he never was, never will be, never could be. She refuses. Because that would be tyranny. That would be imposing her will through superior force. That would be everything the Arcanum represents. Instead, she speaks 3 words. Quiet. Calm. Absolute. You are finished. And she walks away. Leaves the 3 magisters standing in the chamber that was once the source of their power. Now just old people with obsolete knowledge and the certainty that history has moved beyond them. Ren helps her carry Kale's body. They ascend from the deep places into dawn light that feels wrong because it's beautiful and Kale isn't alive to see it. Behind them, the magisters remain in the darkness. Not imprisoned, not destroyed, simply irrelevant. The cruelest fate for those who believe themselves essential. Thomas, no longer entirely Thomas, feels the change ripple through reality. The wellspring has been freed. Magic has transformed. The careful equations the god built its strategy around have become obsolete. The incomplete divinity rages. 6/7 of its power is still overwhelming. But the 7th fragment is beyond reach, hidden in a pocket dimension only the woman with echo fire knows how to access. and that woman just became significantly more dangerous. The god makes a calculation. Cold, divine, absolute. It cannot win by overwhelming force anymore. The shifted magic means mortal practitioners are more dangerous than before. The network, if it unites, could actually threaten even divine power when that power is incomplete. So the god does what tyrants do when direct assault fails. It negotiates. It sends a message across the kingdom, spoken directly into the minds of every living thing. Not words, pure meaning. Partnership is offered. Transformation voluntary. Join or remain. But understand, the threats that come next will make me seem merciful. Something worse than gods and tyrants waits beyond the seals. Something the Arcanum imprisoned because even they feared it. I offer evolution. They will offer only extinction. The message ends, leaves behind silence and a choice that shouldn't exist. Because the god is right. There are deeper seals, older prisons, entities that make the fractured god look like a minor threat. The Arcanum kept them contained through constant vigilance and terrible sacrifice. The network, even with the wellspring's partnership, might not be strong enough to hold them forever. The god offers a solution. Terrible, but pragmatic. Transform humanity into something that can survive what's coming. Give up mortal limitation in exchange for immortal adaptability. It's tempting, dangerously tempting. And across the kingdom, thousands begin to seriously consider it. Sera returns to find the city in chaos. Not violent, ideological. The network is fracturing in real time. Some cells want to fight the god. Some want to accept transformation. Some want the Arcanum alliance. Some want to flee to other kingdoms and let Valdris destroy itself. The vote on the Arcanum alliance has become meaningless. The magisters are obsolete. But new factions are forming. New philosophies emerging. This is what freedom looks like when pushed to extremes. Not tyranny, not chaos, but something harder to categorize. Competing visions of survival, each convinced of its own righteousness, each unable to prove the other's wrong. Sera stands before the assembled representatives. 200 people representing every cell in the network. All of them exhausted, frightened, desperate for someone to provide certainty in a world that offers only questions. She speaks. Not loudly, not dramatically, just honestly. Kale died so we could open the wellspring. Died believing that partnership is stronger than domination. I want to honor that belief. Want to prove he was right. But I don't have easy answers. Can't promise victory. Can't guarantee we'll survive what comes next. What I can offer is this. We face the threats together. Not as subjects obeying rulers. Not as individuals pursuing separate interests. But as partners. As peers. As people who choose cooperation over both tyranny and chaos. The god offers transformation. The Arcanum offered control. I offer nothing but the chance to remain human, flawed, limited, mortal, and to fight for the right to choose our own future. It's not inspiring, not rousing, not the speech a hero is supposed to give, but it's real, and reality is what they need. The vote happens, not on the Arcanum alliance, that's dead, on whether to continue the network as it is, or to accept one of the alternatives. The results are close, too close, uncomfortable close, but the network survives. By 17 votes out of 200. 17 people made the difference between continuation and collapse. Sera wonders if that's enough. Wonders if such narrow margins can sustain a society. Then Rin reminds her that every vote for freedom is a miracle. Every person who chooses difficulty over ease is proof that humans are more than their fears. Maybe 17 miracles are enough. For now. The god's domain has stopped expanding. Not because it's been defeated. Because it's waiting. Waiting for humanity to weaken itself further. Waiting for the next crisis. Waiting for desperation to drive people into its embrace willingly. Patience. The ultimate divine virtue. Sera stands at the border, studying the transformed land. It's beautiful in its wrongness. Trees that grow crystalline. Rivers that flow upward. Sky that changes color based on observers' emotions. Not destruction. Transformation. That's what makes it so dangerous. It's not obviously evil. It's seductive. A figure approaches from the god's territory. Not divine. Human. Or formerly human. They stop at the border, not crossing. Speak with Thomas's voice, but something else's intonation. The god wishes you to know, the offer stands. Always. Whenever you're ready to accept that mortality is limitation rather than virtue. Sera's response is cold. Tell your master that humanity will find its own path. With all our flaws, all our failures, all our mortality. The figure smiles. That's what makes you delicious. Your defiance. Your stubborn insistence that weakness is strength. The god will enjoy breaking that certainty. Slowly, over centuries if necessary. It turns to leave. Pauses. Oh, and the deeper seals? They'll fail within a generation. Perhaps less. When they do, you'll wish you'd accepted transformation when it was offered gently. The figure walks back into the transformed land. Becomes part of the beauty and wrongness. Sera returns to Ravencross with the god's message burning in her mind. A generation. Maybe less. To prepare for threats worse than anything they've faced. The mathematics remain unkind. But they're no longer impossible. Because now they have the wellspring. Have partnership magic. Have proof that the third path, neither tyranny nor chaos, can exist. It won't be easy. Will require constant negotiation, compromise, vigilance. Will demand more from people than either dictatorship or anarchy. But it's possible. And possibility is all any generation can offer the next. 5 years later, Sera is 33. The Echo has fully integrated, not disappeared, but merged so completely that separation is meaningless. She is herself and the continuation simultaneously. The network has evolved, grown more sophisticated, developed systems for coordination that respect autonomy while enabling collective action. It's messy, inefficient, and somehow functional. The god remains in the north. A constant threat, a persistent temptation. Some people accept transformation annually. Others flee the divine domain, choosing mortality over transcendence. The balance holds. Barely. The Arcanum magisters have vanished. Some say they died in the deep places. Some say they're building power elsewhere, in other kingdoms, preparing another return. Some say they finally accepted obsolescence and faded into obscurity. No one knows. No one particularly cares. They're history's problem now, not the present's. And the deeper seals, they hold. For now, the network has learned to maintain them through distributed effort rather than centralized control. It's harder, requires more coordination, demands more from everyone. But it works. Somehow. Sera stands in what used to be Thornhaven, rebuilt, thriving, home to some of the most skilled practitioners in the kingdom. The well that once held the devourer now contains normal water. Children play in the square, practicing magic that comes easily now, naturally, through partnership rather than force. A young girl approaches, maybe 10 years old, with bright eyes and questions that won't wait for convenient timing. Are you really her? The one who opened the wellspring? Sera smiles. I'm one of the ones who opened it. I had a lot of help. They say you saved the kingdom. I helped it save itself. There's a difference. The girl considers this. Will the threats ever stop? Will we ever be safe? Sera's honesty is gentle but absolute. No, there will always be threats. Always challenges. Always costs to pay for the freedom to choose our own path. Then why fight? Why not just accept someone strong to protect us? Because protection becomes prison, Sera says. Because safety purchased with freedom is just slavery with better marketing. Because humans are at our best when we're struggling together rather than being ruled separately. The girl nods, too young to fully understand, but old enough to sense truth. I want to be like you when I grow up. Sera's laugh is warm. Be better than me. That's the whole point. Each generation improving on the last. Making fewer mistakes. Finding better solutions. The girl runs off to rejoin her friends. Sera watches her go, feeling old and young simultaneously. Ren finds her there, brings news of another seal showing weakness in the western mountains. More work. Always more work. But he's grinning. Because work is life. Because struggle is meaning. Because the alternative is stagnation. Shall we? He asks. Sera's hands ignite with crimson flame. The wellspring responds, offering power through partnership rather than domination. She'll need it. They'll all need it. The deeper seals will fail eventually. Something worse than gods and tyrants will emerge. But that's tomorrow's problem. Today, there's a seal to reinforce. A community to protect. A legacy to continue. She walks toward the next crisis with fire in her hands and certainty in her heart. Not certainty of victory. Certainty of choice. And choice, messy, difficult, gloriously human choice, is what the girl with silver hair died for. Is what Kale died for. Is what makes all of it worthwhile. The kingdom endures. Imperfect, struggling, free. And in the deep places, in the cracks between realities, in the spaces where magic pools and consciousness stirs, something ancient feels the seals weakening and smiles. Because patience is not just a divine virtue. It's an eternal one. The war continues. The costs accumulate. The victories are temporary and the defeats are lessons. But humanity persists, not through strength or power or dominance, through partnership, through choice, through the stubborn insistence that freedom is worth its price. Always has been, always will be. Deep beneath where Cravenhold once stood, in chambers that still remember tyranny, a book lies open, written in the High Magister's hand, chronicling 3 centuries of accumulated knowledge. The last page contains a single sentence, written in the moments before obsolescence. We were wrong about everything that mattered. May those who come after learn from our failure rather than repeat our success. The book closes itself. Dust settles. And somewhere above, a kingdom learns to be free. Kindly subscribe for more.